Welcome everyone to today's Empyrion live stream, which is of course the October Creator Challenge. It looks like we are still waiting on a few people to get in, so we're gonna hang out for a minute, just chill. I want to introduce you to our guest today. This is my new buddy, Timmy. Say hi. Camera's that way. Look. Alright, he's shy, but he is my new little buddy, the new spicy dog that's going to be staying with me for quite a while now. I just got him from the local animal shelter, so he is still getting adjusted to things. But yeah, he's going to be hanging out with me for today's live stream. So, there we go. Timmy, you hang out for a minute. Maybe we'll get you back up if you behave. Alright, so we are doing the Creator Challenge today, and this is the very unique Creator Challenge because this is based around trying to add utility to the game in design and form that we don't already have. Which would be things which very popularly we have today, elevators. And you're saying, we have elevators. Yes, we have personal elevators. We don't have elevators for our vessels, like our hover vessels. If you want to get them up to a higher level of your base, you don't really have that. Maybe you just want to be able to carry a hover vessel up to your capital vessel in space because the capital vessel can't land so easily. We really don't have that. We need some sort of elevator function, so that's what we are getting from some of these designs today. And double check, make sure everything's looking good. It looks good on my side. I see we've got some people watching. Nobody's chatting yet, so that's unfortunate. But here we go. We are going to take a look first, and let me get my information pulled up. This is the Elevare by Ratztrap and his secondary elevator CV. So the base is the Elevare, or Elevare, however you want to say it. And then he built for this base a particular capital vessel design that is meant to sit just inside. That is the elevator. And this works for a certain reason of the design of the base itself, which I have not fully implemented and tested yet, because what we have to do is, according to the information on the workshop, we first are going to take these blocks off. The little round white silverish posts are supposed to be removed. Then you remove every one of these that has P on it. You kind of see how it's supposed to line up, like how that is set up. And I feel like that really, it almost should keep the post in there, but I'm pretty sure it was saying on the design information to remove the, P blocks, and then, pull all the white round blocks. So, and this is very, very strange that I'm not getting getting no chat or anything. Like, nobody's on. Maybe they did some change with YouTube, something like that. That's causing a problem. Alright, it looks like we are having some kind of problem right now. Well, there we go. It looks like there's a bit of an issue. Why is this continually power's gone out again for some reason? That is weird. Oh, okay, there's Excalibur. Alright, Excalibur, glad you could join in. That's weird. I don't know why it wasn't showing right, and why is this still acting all goofy? Alright, so we've got people starting to join in. We'll give it another minute and see what's happening, because apparently something, I guess it wasn't showing active on the YouTube channel. Apparently it was just not showing as going right now. That's not surprising. Other people have said they haven't gotten notices before in the past. So, alright, you know what, I'm just gonna go ahead, while we'll wait for everybody else to kind of, jump in, let me go ahead and get this kind of set up. I'm gonna redo this one, because I think I can make this work without taking out the blocks that it was recommended to take out. So, man, that's disappointing that it's, already messed up. Just showed up on page 10 seconds ago? Oh, wow. Okay, so, yay, YouTube. YouTube's doing great today. I was wondering why there was nobody chatting for today's video. I was like, that's so weird. Alright, I think I might can get this to work. Or maybe not. Maybe I can't. I have like no rotational. It's not, oh, RCS is turned off. That's, well, that would make sense. You wouldn't need it once the design's in place, but I think it might have been useful to have it ready to go until the design is in place. Let's see if I can make this work. Okay. Nope. That's not going to work. Alright. So the design, and again, since apparently this got messed up and YouTube didn't want to advertise, this is the elevator CV and elevare base, or elevare base, coming to us from creator Ratztrap. And he basically built a, you know, what we've asked for at times, what other people have done, an elevator capital vessel. And Timmy, you want to say hi to everybody again? Oh yeah, I got a dog. I adopted from the local shelter, and he is sitting right at my feet now. I'm not sure if he's willing to jump on camera yet. He's kind of being shy earlier. We're gonna see if I can get this lined up right. This is being a little iffy. Basically, the design says to take out the tubular blocks on the capital vessel and then the P named blocks on the base itself. I felt like maybe I didn't take all the blocks out I was supposed to. Yeah, this is being frustrating. Timmy, where'd you go? Okay, he ran off again. Let's see. So basically, this was supposed to fit to the side here. Oh, and I happened to just get it lined up right. Oh, I broke it. Yeah, alright, that's one thing we need better control on some of the vessels, because this is still not working right. Like, this is a very tight fit, it looks like. Alright, I'm gonna see what I can do to adjust this. Something is, like, that's not hitting. That's hitting, so basically I need to actually lower myself in all the way to the floor, and I'm assuming it doesn't have docking pads then. There we go. Alright, so now this is where pinpointing the flaws in the physics. Yeah, there's a lot of bugs in the physics with this game. Just saying, you know, but hey, you know, not every game is going to be perfectly done. Now, let's see. I have I don't remember what all the steel blocks were. We'll just do the 2 pieces again. And like that. I'm not even going to worry about recoloring them. I just want them to sit in the right spot. And that... Really? Okay. The other one worked perfect. There we go. Being a little iffy. But basically, yeah, you're going to have... So you have blocks you have to take out of this in order to get it in place. And then you'll need to go and put the blocks back, which I think I am... Yeah, I'm still off kilter on this. So let's see if that fixed it. Alright, yeah, there. So you're basically going to just do this sort of thing. So it locks it in. Now, that's going to be a little... Yeah, you'd have to kind of fly up, get over in there, and put that in. And then... Oh, I thought I felt my dog again. Yes, for those of you joining late, I adopted a dog over the course of the week. Actually, just yesterday. I saved him from the potential euthanasia that might have had to happen if he had not been adopted. And I'm not even sure if I'm using the right block, but that looks correct. So basically, yeah, this is supposed to fit like this. And you've got these guide rails that fit in here into the slots. And then we have regular blocks that were here. I think these were the concrete blocks, maybe, that I were snagging earlier. Yes, I did show this dog earlier, but apparently when I was showing it, nobody got notified about the stream. So if I could get him here, I'll put him on the camera and show him. But he's kind of, I think he's gone to the couch to relax. He didn't seem too impressed with seeing himself on screen. Alright, so we've got this. And so now basically the idea here is you fly up and every bit of the blocks and the pipes on it, if I can get it to show right. I seem to be having a problem here on this section. Oh, there it goes. Okay, so it's just an alignment thing, but basically the tubes that come off the posts and the little wall pieces are meant to actually lock you in. So like that helps to block against the little piece of wall there so that it just flies up, and then you kind of, assuming we could get it to stay level the whole time, you can take like a smaller HV, put it on here, and you can bring it up here for storage. So this is basically like a parking deck. And I was holding O on that Doom Noodle. It's still kind of being like goofy in some cases. Like holding O earlier was actually getting stuck on something. But yeah, you just gotta avoid some of the little pieces that kind of snag here and there. And then otherwise you have basically a glorified parking deck. That's what the base is. You have a parking spot up here, and it looks almost like you really have a bigger spot than what you need for a vessel that can fit on here. You'd be kind of tight squeezed. So it might be more of a case of you are the elevator operator and somebody else is bringing their hover vessel to you and you park it. Or, you know, valet parking for hover vessels. But we have that. We have this level here. You see we have room for even bigger hover vessels. But of course the problem goes back to, can you even fit them on this platform? But yeah, you can see here, you take out the blocks marked P, which would be those I've replaced. You take out the post on the design itself, the elevator, and once you get it in place, you put them all back, and it locks everything in. So that is one thing, I think, you know, in terms of the design aspect itself, I would like to see it where you can actually spawn in a combination blueprint. Like, hey, you know, we have the base and a capital vessel that are docked together, so we want to be able to spawn them in at the same time. And it's combined resources, and you can spawn it in where it's already in place and don't have to do any of the removing this block, putting it back kind of thing. Instead, it's just, here's the base with this, you know, elevator here. And at least it's actually fairly easy. Now, see there, I wiggled a little bit to the side. And now, yeah, okay, now that's helping. You see, I'm hitting with the walls as I come down, and it just makes me bump. But yeah, we basically have a hover vessel elevator, and we'll try one of the new prefab designs. We'll just throw that on there. Like, hey man, you know, it's not the nicest hover vessel, but I want to park up top where it, you know, I want the VIP parking area. Doom, this is Ratztrap design, OTG. I haven't got a chance to put links in the description yet. I will be doing that later and uploading, of course, my game saves, so you can just play them all if you want that way. Been a little busy this week, plus then adding in the dog. He kind of threw my schedule off a bit. Okay, we are here in the VIP, you know, parking deck. We are going to pop up and just, you know what, fine, we'll just do first person. Drive off. And I'm assuming, yes, you're gonna, even though we've got these much larger than necessary parking areas, you're still gonna need a vessel that you can actually maneuver off of that platform. You may actually, it may actually be to remove the that one thruster too. Let me look. Yeah, so you can turn off RCS, which is supposed to help with stabilization. I'm gonna see if that makes a difference now. I feel like that might actually cause a problem, and then I feel like this can go. So we can take the thruster off. We're going to turn off the RCS, and then we'll go down and we'll go back. So yeah, I can still do O to level out, even though I have technically no RCS for upwards and sideways movement. So that works. So okay, so no RCS saves you some power. Description said remove it. I'm trying to look real quick. I'm not seeing the thruster. I see the P and white round blocks. But yeah, it only makes sense that that be the case, that it actually is meant to remove it, because you'd be stuck with such small HVs parking on it. And now I'm getting stuck. Okay, yeah, you're just... There's going to be some points where you might actually have a physics issue. Even though you might have RCS turned off, it's going to still catch something, and you're just going to have to sit and hold down O to make it work. But yeah, this actually is a pretty nice little design. I mean, obviously that's way too much space for that parking spot there, but we can get a much larger vessel. Let's see, this is a decent sized one. Is this going to actually fit? I think it will, but it's going to overhang a bit. So you get a decent sized one. You're not going to put a super massive hover vessel on it, but hey, you know, if they ever incorporate an actual vehicle elevator block, that would be nice. You know, something that works a lot better than just building a really big ramp. This actually works pretty well. I know some people would probably like the thrusters to not be exposed, but of course this was just a look at functionality, trying to come up with something new that, hey, maybe the devs will say that's a cool idea, let's add it to the game. And that's what he's got here. We got these nice blocks. So you got a block right here that causes these to stop in place. You got a block here, and now the posts keep it going here along this ledge. You got this right here to level it out as it comes through this group, and then you got this one right here to level out, and then you got that block there to level it when it comes up here. So yes, basically it's just really nicely done, and it's just rolling along in a little slot and following the path that the slot takes. I do like how that worked out. That kind of, when you see it flush, that almost looks like those are actually attached to the vessel itself. So that is a nice little touch right there. I do like that. Alright, let's see. This, the base, if you want a, you know, nice parking deck for all your vessels, this is not the, this is the Elevare or Elevare. And obviously a lot of concrete, so you get away with just having to use a lot of stone dust. Of course, there's a lot of windows in it to, you know, show everything off. So you have a lot of silicon needed, some iron, some sathium. Then you do have production down below as well. It's not just the lovely elevator. We do have production, so you can use this. So see, like you've got your advanced constructors down here. So 1, 2, 3, 4 advanced constructors right there. Technically accessible from this side. 3 solar capacitors, so plenty of solar power. Though what I've seen so far, I mean, it's actually consuming more than it's producing on solar, so you're not going to have a lot of storage power for it. Repair bay, of course, so you can fix things. Then you have a furnace, which is currently off. You got a nice switch to turn it on and off. Processing master switch, which turns on everything. So all of these are actively on now, and you, of course the deconstructor's on. If we turn it off, then they're off, deconstructor's off, yeah. And then we have our medical bay, which is, you know, slow change in color from like a very light yellow to a richer yellow, kind of goldish almost, then a, you know, I guess, you know, like a mandarin copper type color, something like that, to more of a copper type color. And then you have bunks, you have repair bay, armor, or repair station, armor, you got medic station, O2, and of course you got your elevator that will take you up to the food processing area where we have, let's see, looks like 27 grow plots. 54 grow plots. Okay, I counted wrong. The logic for the furnace and LCD is a bit off. Well, I mean, the furnace... Oh, it did break. It did kind of turn off after that. That's weird. Because it was off when I came up. Let's see if it's something with... Alright, that's on. That's off. That's weird. It was... these were both off when I came up again. And now it is showing fine. So maybe it was just that one time. And now, yeah, see, it shows furnace is still off. Okay, so yeah, good catch, Dante. There is an issue in the signal logic here in terms of this screen, not the other ones. And the furnace got a little misspelling there, a little typo. So that spelled right there, typoed there, and then it's obviously on, but it says it's off. So there is, yeah, it's something with the XOR logic. Good catch on that, Dante. So, alright, back up here, we've got 54 grow plots. We've got... Is it 54 or is it there? Oh, that's why it was 27. I was right on the count. It's just there's another 27 above. So we do have 2 levels of grow plots. So you can, of course, always split them if you want. Do a different setup for that. 2 fruit processors here and a decorative set of fridges. And then the same thing there. So basically, yeah, each one, you know, 27 grow plots. You should be able to get, what, 3... I think that should get you 3 rations on each floor, technically. And then we just have this nice little spot. If you really want to, you can come up here and be like, hi, I'm gonna check the top of the cargo boxes. And, oh yeah, they're all good. Lots of cargo boxes. This has 30 cargo boxes total. So you definitely have plenty of storage capacity. This is, you know, if you like hover vessels, good place to store them, and you like, you know, you want to swap them out, hey, great place to do that. You, of course, still have to land and kind of bring them here, but it does let you store more in a smaller amount of space. Alright. So again, this is the Elevari and the Elevator CV by Ratztrap. And I will put links in the description later after the stream's over, once I get it all put together, and put the game save up if you want to use that. It does have a lot of solar panels on top, which means you should have optimal power production for that. It does have decent defense, though obviously, you know, you don't have much on certain sides. It's kind of spread around, but it will cover you for most attacks, even against a well-armed patrol vessel. I just don't think you're going to be trying to use this maybe in PvP necessarily. More likely you would get a little bit too much damage, especially with the up top here, the kind of open command area, which fortunately actually has nothing to do with really commanding the place. And then of course you've got your SV pads up here, which with the amount of parking spaces, this is definitely more for hover vessels than small vessels. But you've got enough room. I mean, if you're playing on a server with friends, not doing PvP stuff, this could work really well as a storage place for everybody's hover vessels. And small vessels have like a, you know, this as your central storage area, your parking deck, and then have a separate setup for your capital vessels, like a big landing pad for all of those. That, you know, maybe a ramp that comes straight here to the door so you can deploy your hover vessels here and rotate things out. Alright, see you, Doom Noodle, and hey, Danielle, hey, John, thanks for coming in. I'm sorry about the weirdness with YouTube not notifying everybody and starting the stream with like nobody watching. I was wondering why nobody was chatting at the start, but apparently nobody got notified. So yes, the Elevator CV and Elevari base by Ratztrap. Now, time to move on. We're going to be looking at this combo, and this is an interesting set. It's 3 items, and it's another take on the elevator. This is also a actually a new creator that I don't remember seeing you putting one in here before, but this comes to us from creator Hemp. So unless you changed your name recently, this is coming to us from creator Hemp on the workshop. Yep, see Hemp. So this is basically a modification of his previous design for this capital vessel, which looking at it, I kind of wonder why I haven't seen it, more popular on the workshop. It's got a pretty decent little look to it. And he decided to tag this version of it the MSG version, because this is 4.0 specifically for this setup. And he added 2 designs. He made a new base, a landing platform for it, that's adjusted for this. And then he made another piece that goes inside. So basically, the one problem I had with this was lining it up, because I had to actually spawn it right on there so I could see where the landing gears were to get it working right. But basically you have this big capital vessel with tons of stuff. You've got your little, spot here for a small vessel, or preferably a hover vessel in this case. But basically it's right here, and you're like, oh hey, I need to, drop some vessels off. And I also need to park some stuff up here. So it's kind of like an aircraft carrier. So you see, you can bring vessels up if you want to do it that way. But we have this. So coming into the base, we've got this, and I think it's partly to do with the terrain right here. Because the terrain is a little uneven. So if you try this out, make sure you dig the terrain down a bit. But this is supposed to fit pretty much flush to that. Now, I did have a little bit of trouble with this earlier, and basically it was to do only with the automatic door and the pilot seat. I could not interact with them before. When I was spawning in, I had to spawn it away from the base, and then I could use it and fly it in. When I spawned it next to the capital vessel or next to the base, it acted like the cockpit wasn't there. But basically, it's the same concept. You're going to have this elevator that apparently I did not line it up again. But yeah, it flies in. It's not flush and fitted to everything. It just kind of flies in, but it gives you an elevator you can use to bring a vessel up and then be like, oh hey, you know what? I'm going to park this right here and let you off, and now I'm going to fly back down into the base area itself and just, wait for the next vehicle to come in. So, same kind of concept, done a little bit differently. It's not locked into the actual, vessel itself. You're not going to be stuck with it trying, to move along a certain path. It does have freedom, but that also gives a little bit of a problem with it in terms of getting it to line up right at times. But there, okay, yeah, maybe I've almost got it. And we'll stop again. And yeah, it's still terrain is just the issue there. So, yeah, there is a flat piece. It's just to get this lined up right. I did have to lower it in a bit. And that. So yeah, you can build it a bit lower. I really did get it in depth. It was a little bit difficult to place it when I was trying to set it up. This is the deck. And see, it does say sink. So I sunk it a little too far, apparently. It does kind of, you see it jumps a bit right there. So it does give a little bit of weirdness in placement, and depending on where you are. But it does say sink. Of course, if you find a nice level spot, it will work. Alright, you threw me off, Dante. Guidance for parking position and base. Use full, I'm assuming, not use dull. Yeah, that's the one thing about this was the parking of it, is to get it lined up right, because that is so iffy right here. When you go up, if you are just slightly off on either the parking of the capital vessel or the alignment of that there, you're going to end up possibly bumping into something. And if you've got a hover vessel on it and it tips over, you better hope you actually got it to dock right. But yeah, that's basically, it's the same mechanism. It's another elevator system, but this one is meant to carry it from the base up into the capital vessel, as opposed to just carrying it around the base like on the first one. And this is a pretty nice large capital vessel. It does have that feel of an aircraft carrier. You do have that little deck area, like launching deck. But nothing on that side there, just the side launching station. So you can launch there. You can actually, if you bring in a hover vessel up this way, you can actually bring it along here if it will fit and drop it down and park it in here. Though the access doors here, that access door, just having that, there's no ramp coming down. To me, this is a small vessel bay. So I really don't think that would be more of like drive it down. Then you do have these right here. If you can land it to the right spot, you can actually deploy with those. And actually, there is one side here on the base. If you take this one, the big long ramp, and again, as you say, guidance, landing guidance would help. Parking here, I actually do have, I get to extend these. So you can actually nice walk up and then drive up in a hover vessel and deploy that way. So if you were just, oh hey, I brought one up from below and wanted to put it in here, you could do that. So it does give you options for bigger ones. And hi, TwoTon. I think this is a nice idea. I like the concept. We've seen that sort of thing before with other bases, but it's very particular to this design, to this specific capital vessel, this particular base design, in terms of the basic functionality. I think you could take the elevator sled here, the Bizarre Ride 1.0, and actually use it in maybe some other designs and lift things up with it. But it still has a bit of limitation, because if you do bump into something like that, it does throw you off a bit. That's the only thing I really see with this. And of course, the placing the capital vessel on there, getting it lined up just right, you will need some way to help land that. I had to actually spawn it in and make sure it was lined up right, because I could not get it to land correctly when I was trying to line it up. But this is the CV Eclipse 4.0 MSG, the Eclipse base. Let's see, yes, the BA Deck Eclipse 1.0 MSG and the CV Bizarre Ride 1.0 MSG. So 3 parts, though the main one, the utility element of it, is really the Bizarre Ride CV that acts as the elevator platform for everything. And again, this is by creator Hemp. Now, TwoTon, it is a good thing you came in when you did, because you are now the next design. And I'm actually, to get this set up right, we're going to change it to nighttime, because you need the full effect on this design. This design needs to have certain lighting for it to work correctly, and it's called the high buy sign. And it is not a base. It's a capital or a small vessel, but when you approach, the sensor there triggers a welcome sign, which is nice. So you could actually have a sign that, hey, park this on your base somewhere, just dock it, and as you come close, it says welcome. Dock it inside a long hangar bay tunnel, and it'll say welcome when you get there. And then the big thing is when you walk away from it, the signal logic delays it for a moment and then says goodbye. So very simplistic. Definitely, you know, well, simplistic in terms of the overall visual design, but obviously a good bit of work done with the signal logic. It really is just this. Just a placement for some light panels. If I get them to, let me see well enough. It's basically, I think, flares. Yeah, just flares. And all it does is say hi when you come close and say goodbye when you walk away. But that is something, and as it says right here, is something that we think should be implemented. I mean, why can't we have an LCD sign able to say different things when the logic changes? It's not a complicated thing in that. I mean, we can type into a sign to say this or that. And we do have a way where people are making it so you use signal logic like we saw in the other bases. Flip a switch. This LCD says furnace on. Then you flip it again. This one says furnace off. It's two different signs for that. Why can't we have it where the signal logic changes the signs? So this is one of my favorite submissions for this challenge so far, is because it's really is something we should have in the game. There's no reason why I don't think we should not already have this. I mean, store two different modes and have an option to change those two modes. Like, oh, hey, here's state A and state B, or, you know, here's off, here's on type state. Well, not off and on. Let's say a quantum state. It's off, it has the in-between, and then it has the on state. So 0, 1, and in between, and we'll just do it that way. So you basically, you know, you have the option to say, if it's off, it's blank, obviously, but here's your first option of text, like hi. Second option, text bye, and have it set so you use this signal for hi, this signal for bye, and when you turn, you know, like, okay, I walk away, it automatically triggers the bye signal, and it turns it on for 5 seconds. In this case, you've got that signal that triggers the change to goodbye, and then it turns off. So, definitely something that should have been implemented already in the game. We should have that option, and we should really have bigger signs. We should have a way to have a bigger sign like that. Like, I'm not expecting Vegas, but hey, give us a planet where there is a huge, like, metropolis type thing, and we have promotional signs like that. Like, signs like, here's the bar, here's the, you know, shipyard. Why can't we have that in the game? Make it feel more realistic, like we would expect things to be, you know, like movies tell us they'll be. You have all these different shops, all these big signs promoting things. Have this sort of function there. Give us that in the game. Devs, come on. That is definitely something we should have in the game, in my opinion. Yes, the elevators are nice. They do serve overall more gameplay functionality, but this is cosmetic functionality. And it does work some in the daytime. Not as well. I feel like maybe, yes, the frames make it a little bit cheaper. But I think if you actually had just put like some very light, you know, blocks, or turn these all black, so it blocked out behind it, instead of like Hollywood sign type thing, you know, it would stand out more in the daytime. That might be something that's having like, you know, LCD screen is going to have a black background. Should have a little black background to this as well. And yes, you're right, scrolling text would be nice too if you could do that, where if it wraps around, it should be able to scroll. So this is definitely something devs need to see this design and be like, you know what, we need to implement that normally in game. We need bigger signs, we need signal adjusted designs, and then we need, a better, like you say, Dante, text editing. Instead of just one font size for the whole thing, different font sizes. Give us, you know, maybe bold, italics. You know, it's just take the font, put in the bold version, put in the italic version, and let it go. I think that we need that. Obviously, some of us want that in the game. I think we need it because that would improve some of the design elements, the aesthetics of being able to put in better stuff. And people have already been asking for realistic LCDs. You know, stuff that shows the actual planet map you're on as opposed to just a generic holographic one. So we definitely need stuff like that added to the game. We need more functionality for our LCDs in the game. But I think the only thing that could have been changed on this is a black background. So even at a distance, I can still see it in daytime. It kind of fades away a bit at a distance. Yeah, something like a HTML editor, WYSIWYG, what you see is what you get, you know, kind of thing. That would be a great one to add. So this is definitely like I said, one of my favorites so far because it is fitting to that style of utility that we really are missing in the game. It's something, it's not game breaking, thing we're missing. It may not affect some people's gameplay. Some people won't care, but there are those of us who like the design element of having more adjustable screens. And that is something we definitely need. Alright, so we are going to move on now. And I'm actually going to go out of order from the submissions just because some of the submissions need to be done in a little bit different order. So what we're going to do next is coming up to the Vertex Ilios Repair Bay base. And this is by Unaleska Kuriku. We also have the Vertex Elevator design. And now this is another one that I actually have left out. I have not completed yet. I was already in the process of doing the first designs, putting them together when I found that the stream apparently was not being advertised. So what this is what we're going to do is we actually have this block here, this window pane that you are told to take out. And what this does is you're going to put the small vessel, as it is, into the little elevator slot here, basically. That's what we're doing. And I'm trying to do it where it's backwards. That way when you're looking, you're actually looking up, kind of thing. Oh yeah, I can actually see it now. I think it's because of how the ceiling is. My character's just looking up like a doofus right now. Whoa, and I kind of sunk down a little bit. Let's see. Alright, I think I've got it. Yes. Perfect. Or almost perfect. Oh, okay. So maybe that is why it was done. Maybe you are supposed to face forward because when I got out, it actually moved me outside the glass on the other side. So that's a little, problem there. Come on, line me up. Let's get in this again. You think the fact that I'm going forward would make it a little bit easier, but obviously not. It's not working for me right now. I think I'm too... There we go. Finally, I lined up enough. Once I get this in, I'm fine. Oh, come on. There. I think now I'm too high. There we go. Okay. So drop down all the way. Yeah, okay. So you definitely want to have it where you're facing towards the outside. And then we're going to put that block back. That window back. Like this. Yes. And now, I think, automatic, oh yeah, God mode's messing up my automatic door thing. Hello, Game Master, and yeah, getting out of the position of the cockpit where you enter it like that, where I don't get pushed backwards out. That is a problem I've had with things like the pack mules and such. Apparently, you always get pushed a little backwards and to the side of the cockpit. And if the cockpit is enclosed on the back, then it, drops you completely outside or into the wall of the vessel or wherever you're parking. But yeah, there we go. It's an elevator, which I feel like this base doesn't really show it off as well. Because look how fast it goes. I mean, that is a nice touch and it works well. It's made to fit in this base, but technically you could take that same design, same basis, take out one of these on another base and have an elevator design that goes way, way up. I see this as being like an option for a potential space elevator. Build as high as you can up into the sky and then hopefully not actually go into space with it. But build high as you can into the sky, and then you can just ride that elevator all the way up. Let's see if I can land on it right again. So yeah, the base itself has defense. It has solar panels all around. except for the side over here with the big dual hangar bay doors. So you do have plenty of room to get in. It's obviously meant for doing repairs. And, you know, it's a nice base standalone and its own thing. But, you know, I like the elevator design. Even though it's named Vertex Elevator, it's not really meant just for this. It's really any place you want an elevator. You just have to have the ability to actually add it in. And, yeah, so it works. It's much faster. Though one thing is, of course, you know, like we were saying, if we could actually, there is a middle area here like this. Now, one problem with this, though, is if I'm facing, oh, and I did glitch out of it. It did glitch me out of the elevator. Oh, because I was not lined up right. Yeah, so, having some way to signal that, oh, you are at the right spot, you don't need to go any higher, that would be nice. But that does cause a bit of a problem. Let's see, switch lever. Okay, just that one. So nothing to do with that. Just extends a little ramp so you can walk out. Shutter door. So you can walk out to like a bigger, small vessel or hover vessel that sticks way up high, and then you have this. But yeah, that's the one problem with this kind of elevator design. If you want to stop in the middle, we need to be able to face forward to where we're stopping at. You need to have only one doorway basically on it, which is going to be the same side every time, because you don't have a way to say, hey, take me up to this floor and stop. It just kind of keeps going. And then, yeah, it's got a good option, but it's still limited. I think we need, instead of the elevator blocks where you just kind of float up it, we need proper elevators. We need a switch. You hit, it brings down an elevator car, you get in, and it goes up. Yeah, that's like I was saying there, Dante. You need to have a switch that can call and use the elevator. It needs to be like a realistic elevator for the game to work with that. Because, yeah, if you're playing with other people and you're up on floor 100, what happens if somebody needs it on floor 5? Now, what I want to do here is I want to see what happens if I turn it off. Well, it's not sinking. Most of the time, the small vessels will just drop when you turn off their power. Apparently, this one is not doing that. Okay. But yeah, we need more elevators, stuff like that. And Game Master, I have played Space Engineers, and I did not like it. I liked the default scenario where just the gameplay, but the building, there's just way too much going on in there that it made it so tedious to try to get even started. I just couldn't do it. So, yeah, if they could add some nice balance between what Empyrion is now and Space Engineers, that will work. And to me, that's already happening with Planet Nomads. They're kind of in between in a lot of regards between Space Engineers and Planet Empyrion, because they have, you know, they have some more of that physics going in there. And I know we've had people talking about, you know, the devs are saying they're going to put in, like, or they need to put in pistons and rotors. We need some stuff like this. We need a way, like I said, we need an elevator block that's actually a car, and you put a signal little elevator call button on each floor. Empyrion was made by former devs of SE. Well, you know, they probably realized that they went a little bit too overboard on some of the physics in Space Engineers and decided to trim it back a bit. Which is a good thing. I would not be playing Empyrion if it was more like Space Engineers than it already is. But this is, again, the Vertex repair, or Vertex Ilios repair bay. Basically just a, leave it on the planet, bring your vehicle down and repair it. And then it was just, you know, basically I think what he did was took the elevator blocks out and made this little elevator to fit into it. And while this is named for this base, it technically should work in any other base design as long as you take out all the elevator blocks and have a large enough window vertical you can remove to get it through. The only drawbacks really are you can't stop as easily, and you need to be able to look forward where you're, you know, walking through to see. And if you're facing forward when you get out of the pilot seat, it's going to stick you right behind the pilot seat, which if you're against an outside window, like here, I'd be dropped outside the base and fall. So there is a problem still with the game mechanics on that. Alright, so that is the Vertex Elevator and Vertex Ilios Repair Bay designs from Unaleska Kiritaku. Again, I will have links for all of these in the description once we get done and I get a chance to put them in. And then I'll be doing the upload for my game save. Let's see now. My dog has not shown back up yet. He must either be asleep or enjoying himself, lounging on the couch. So we've got 2 more designs here and 1 more design in space to look at. Actually, 3 here, technically, because this is a set of 2 different designs. And, of course, this comes to us from Doom Noodle. This is another Subnautica named design, Altera. Obviously, Doom Noodle has a penchant for Subnautica, as many others do. And this is named around the Altera, company in the game. But basically, this is an interesting concept. And what I get from this more so is we need new motor type methods for our vehicles. We need new vehicle types, not just hover vessel and small vessel. We need proper tank treads and wheels, because basically what this is, and you can think of it like a military type base sort of thing. Obviously you would need quite a few of these, and it would work if, say, you were wanting to build a road between 2 points, build a road between, or, bridge. Let's see if we can find actually a mountain around here. There's some stuff up that way. We're going to fly over here to the mountain range and set it up and try to do this. But basically, it's like a mobile bridge. Think military style, temporary bridge that you just put in so you don't have to actually build anything. It's just a vehicle that goes in place to give you a way to drive over. And most part, other than certain gaps where if you're going really fast, like say you're going really fast, you might make the jump. Other times you might be going really fast, not quite make the jump. You hit that edge of a little crater or something, and suddenly you're full stop. You're also flipping upwards, maybe flipping around in your vessel because you didn't quite make the jump. So most cases, hover vessels will work without this. I don't think you really need it. And if you get the right angle, you can pretty much fly in a hover vessel. But you really do need, like, we need tanks and stuff. Wheels, treads, things like that would be kind of nice. At least in terms of maybe it doesn't move as fast. But if they ever start adding more stuff for, like, weight factoring, that would help with that. You could obviously hold a lot more weight on something that is heavier duty. And I think maybe I can make this fit. Not 100%. We're going to try it. Basically, it's a capital vessel, of course. You need the capital vessel just for things to dock and fly around. Otherwise, it's not really going to work as well. And then what you do is you have these small vessels that actually just slide in between, and it docked me when I wasn't quite leveled. Come on, there we go. All right, so now we got that. So it's not going to make the gap, so I'm gonna have to find another place. But yeah, basically that's all it is. It's just 2 small vessels, basically as like the extending blades. And this is something I know we need in the game. We need retractable stuff beyond just turrets and weapons. Yeah, even with like a ramp, you could extend it more. You could do stuff like that. We need just really more things that are retractable in the game. The turrets are nice because it does let you hide them for cosmetics, but we need longer retracting things like this, where you can sit there and be like, hey, I want to extend this ramp out, and I want it to, like, extend really far. Ooh. It's not the best example, but I think I see a spot I can actually kind of do the gap. More retract is coming. Okay, pistons, yeah. Pistons and rotors are supposed to be coming as well. That would be nice to have. I know, you know, it's a question of how the pistons are going to work too in the end. But basically, yeah, you just have like, all right, here, we're going to place this here, and, well, even that's not quite, you know, short enough distance. It is a bit limited in what we could do. I think you might could build longer small vessels and make it work, but from a visible standpoint, it's not really going to work. You'd have to have a much longer capital vessel, much longer small vessels. But this does work, like, especially if you just wanted to use it as a cheap road extension. Like, actually, you could probably put multiple ones as long as you line them up right and turn them all into a long road. Alright, so yeah, it's a nice concept. It definitely is something I would like to see, you know, kind of implemented. Maybe not this form and methodology, but obviously we need longer retracting elements in the game. Actually, like, retractable leg segments, so you can have like a little leg thing that actually extends outwards and downwards. Like, it extends first at one angle and then down to a, you know, straight angle to create like landing legs. Maybe legs that just, you know, swing outwards would be cool. But that goes back to working on physics. I don't think we're gonna find a spot that's gonna work just right. So we'll do a short gap. It's not gonna be the biggest gap, but it's gonna at least give some illustration of it. Alright, line me up. And I'm actually apparently level. Alright. Oh, and wow, look, okay, yeah, so my small vessel is also kind of clipping into the ground there. Let's see if I can line this up. There we go. Oh, wrong button. I forgot. It's capital vessel, not SV. Alright, there we go. So yeah, technically you have a little walking path now, a little bridge to walk across, or, you know, drive across. I don't think walking is going to be such a good idea. It's got a little temperature fluctuation there, but okay. Now where am I at? Oh, way south. All right, so that is the Altera Mobile Bridge CV. And the Mobile Bridge SV. So, one CV, two SVs, one on each end to extend outwards. And so you do have a nice little bridging system. Now, I'm saving not necessarily the best for last, but the funniest one for last. And so that means we got to go up to orbit now for this next one, which is the Colonial 1. And now this one, I had to kind of look at it a bit, just to kind of get an idea of really how it's supposed to be for the utility aspect. And basically, to me, it seems more like it's really meant to be a true moving base, not a capital vessel of sorts, but it's actually meant to be more like an actual base. And it's not meant to be one you necessarily land on a planet. It's meant to be one that is like, think of spaceship designs in movies. Like, oh, what was that? Interstellar. You got the big spaceship that's carrying everybody to the new home. Obviously, they're not going to try to land that thing. Most likely, they're probably going to send down other ships to land and take everybody back off of it. But this is sort of like that. It's basically a moving colony ship. It's meant for colonization of other planets, kind of a themed design. And it's, you know, it's got some nice features in it. I do like the change, and there's like a docking pad type thing here. where it's not necessarily like, oh, hey, I'm going to dock with this, but it could be, you know, like clamps. You see that it's got a look of clamps, so it should lock in. We do need something like that. Instead of just docking pad, give us clamps that can actually lock into a larger ship. So that's a nice concept right there, having that. Again, themed more so than what I was expecting for the challenge designs. But yeah, this is it's basically just a big colony ship. It's meant, you know, go from one planet, you know, go to a planet and colonize it completely. So basically, it's like everything put together into one. Now, one of the things in the description that caught my attention that obviously doesn't work in the game right now, and I would like to see that, is, let's see, it's, where is it? There was the design, self-sustaining interstellar colonization vehicle, or vessel, ion collector, equipped with an ion collector, so it's capable of producing all the energy needed for the journey by itself. Basically, it's saying it collects energy from, like, whatever star is there kind of thing. You know, you've got this big foil type thing, this big collector type foil that harnesses stuff from the star, you know, basically a solar sail. And that's a nice concept right there. Like, we could use that sort of benefit to capital vessels in the game. That's really something that's interesting. We do need some kind of way to add solar collection to the capital vessels. It doesn't have to be, hey, this is solar power to run the whole vessel. Obviously, that's not going to work flying around. You know how much power you use up, you know, to fly a CV through atmosphere. But once you get moving in space, you can turn off the, you know, auto brake. It cuts down your power usage substantially. The big thing for me is I would like to see solar power for capital vessels, and to add the ability to segment out how your power gets consumed. So solar powers, you know, like your solar panels can be assigned to specific elements of the base. That would be an interesting concept. Like, oh, hey, here's my solar power, and it's meant to power the lights, the grow lights for the grow plots, and the ventilators, so it keeps the, you know, life support going, basically. The pods don't actually disconnect themselves. You know, I don't see them being able to disconnect. It's all one design, but it looks like, yeah, like Dante's saying, it's missing the physics, John, that you could have it where the pods are meant to basically deploy down. Like, oh, hey, we're going to drop this down, you know, onto this planet, and it's going to have, like, yeah, here, you got all your colonists. They've already got food producing here. So basically, it's, you know, hey, we're over a planet. We line everything up, you know, collecting energy from the sun on the way, and we just basically start dropping pods off in one spot or all around the planet, different places. And that's an interesting concept. I would like to see maybe, you know, we've had dropship designs in the past that we looked at doing. We had the hover vessel dropship where you could drop it off of a capital vessel and drop it from way up high. It'd be nice to have something like that where we can actually say, like, here, if you eject the hover vessel from the capital vessel, it can actually be pushed away and fall into orbit. Something like that would be cool. To have that in terms of being able to deploy from up in space, you know, if you're playing multiplayer. Obviously, single player would be a little bit of a pain to have to get back up there and get your ship. But from a, you know, multiplayer standpoint, hey, I'm flying up here. I want to detach this pod. Why can't it not just go ahead and be either, you know, detached and automatically drop, or give us a way to build combinations? Actually, that would be an idea there again. Building a combination thing. Instead of capital vessel and small vessel, or capital vessel and base, like we saw with the other ones using the elevators, what if we had a combination design element where you can actually have it fit under both because it spawns in two designs together? You can actually pair or, you know, group design. So let's say you want to spawn in this Instead, it would be like each one of these is its own small vessel, and the capital vessel is the central corridor part. And so all these are just small vessels that are attached, and when you spawn it in, you can spawn the whole group at once. And that would be a cool concept. Don't need to go back. Cockpit can be separated too. Well, yeah, hey, that's good. So basically, the whole corridor here is just to maintain connection to everything. And then everything breaks off and falls down. And then this is its own standalone part. Yep, drop sequence, master switch. Let's go to the drop sequence, master switch. Alright, what'd it do? I'm pretty sure it didn't actually drop them all, but... Oh, and you got this, so you can drop each one. That's kind of nice. Obviously, it didn't actually drop anything. Let's just do one here. Oh! Caught me by surprise there. It did blow something up, it looks like. Or sounded like it blew something up. I'm not sure what blew up, though. Like, this is still part of the base, right? Yeah! It's still part of it. It's not separated. Obviously, if you blow it up in space, it's going to kind of, or blow it up on the planet, it's going to fall and be a problem. So this is definitely the, like, you know, the central corridor. That's where all the main food's produced. Keep everybody fed during the journey while they're working. Got hover vessel. Oh! So there's actually a spot for a hover vessel. So this has a deployment pod as well. Oh! That's interesting. Did this blow up instead of the other one? Did I blow up the wrong thing? Did the wrong part detach? It kind of looks like it did. Oh look, small vessels. Landing pads on the side. So basically, yeah, this is meant to like deploy down. It's a nice concept. Overall, it's a good theme. Yeah, I definitely like it more. The idea, the concept of, well, first off, I like the clamping idea. Get rid of the docking pads. Give us docking clamps for our vessel, so you don't have to worry about it being just perfectly aligned. You fly up, and then these little clamps come in, grab it, lock it in. The solar collector, you know, the ion collector, great idea. We need some kind of solar powering for capital vessels, especially for space exploration type ideas. Again, I think adding in the ability, like the way we have signal logic, have power channel logic. So you can say solar panels go and feed just these systems, like life support systems. Or have it where, hey, these solar power, they go to this capacitor, and this one feeds this stuff. These solar panels feed this capacitor, and it feeds the one constructor. That would be a cool thing too. So I get a good few ideas off of this I think we really could benefit from seeing in here. And also just the fact that if you could, you know, fly it up to just above orbit, have it aimed the right way, you flip a switch, or you go into the part here and jump in the pilot seat and detach, that it could be a hover vessel that drops to the planet. Instead of it having to be a small vessel, have it be a true dropship, something that can go ahead and eject from the ship and then be caught by gravity and pulled into the planet's, you know, atmosphere. So, very nice idea. And this is, again, the Colonial one by Dante. And I can't see what it seems to have blown up. It looks like it did blow up, maybe, I guess, the elevator section there. That wasn't supposed to blow up. Okay. So, going back to the surface. And I'm looking, my dog has not come back since earlier. I guess he got bored with me talking to seemingly myself in here. Let's see, is it over here? I think, yeah, there we go. Sometimes I move too quickly with God mode for everything to catch up. Alright, so we're back. And now this is a funny design. This is not a design in that the creator made it all himself. This comes from Highlander. And this is a design from Excalibur. And it's funny because the first line of the description says, ever thought, damn, that Excalibur, he always has tons of good stuff on the workshop front page. And that's funny because Excalibur just sent me some new designs, and one of those is doing really great on the workshop page right now. And we're kind of talking about, you know, maybe the downvoting brigade stopped. But it is funny, you know, that that was kind of brought up on this design. What the main thing I'm getting from this design, and I'm going to show you what it is his recent Citadel design, which I did do a showcase of. And there is a big change here. A very big change. Look at that. All those LCD screens. So we still have like our furnace and stuff. Like, oh, you want to come here? You still got stuff here you can use. Like, oh, hey, the furnace is active. But signal logic. Oh, wait. Signal logic's fine. It's the, for some reason, the solar panel ones always mess up when you're, you put fuel in. It always saps the entire amount of fuel out. Hacking system, disabled defenses. That might be interesting, but you'd have to have the devs make it where it's really hard to get in and disable that. Alright, so this is the self-destruct tech demo coming to us from Highlander, but it is actually the Citadel designed by Excalibur. What Highlander did is he changed this. He made it where we got this big display over there to show you the time, and basically you hit this, which this was a spot before that was just kind of set up for extra cargo boxes or whatever. But you come in here, do not use unless you mean it. Detonation in 20 seconds from activation. So we got all this nice flashing red lights, and you see the screen. The logic for this is so good. You got everything set up right so that the screens actually activate on and off in the appropriate sequence and count down. But here we go. A few seconds, and hopefully at this distance, not too loud. Oh, there it goes. I think. That's why I saved it for last. That is why I saved it for last. Now, it does not completely destroy it. I don't think it does. Maybe it does. Does it actually? No, it did leave a few pieces. There were a few pieces that survived. Surprisingly, that little piece. I mean, I can understand these pieces here. You know, big chunks, but how did this one little piece right here survive? But that is fun. That's funny. But at the same time, it's actually something I feel like we could use. Maybe you are later in the game. You don't want to deal with dismantling the design. You don't want to sit there and get all the resources back. But at the same time, you don't want to just leave it and have it cluttering up your, you know, your menus. You don't want to have that going. You don't want to have, what is it? Where? You don't want to have it where it shows in here all this stuff like that. You don't want to get things too cluttered, so you want to get rid of it. Why do we not have a self-destruct option? Technically, we already have the command for it, just doesn't technically blow it up. We have the DI command, so if you come here and then you go destroy 653, because there's the ID of it, it destroys it. You know, in this case, it gets rid of the whole thing. And it's completely gone. It's not a case of it blows it up, but some of the stuff, like the CVs, you can actually be like, oh, hey, I'm going to put, you know, here, Excalibur 1. I think it'll work on this one. Sorry, Excalibur, we're going to blow your stuff up today. So there is the new capital vessel. If I do this, I think it works on these, or it may be the SVs. Nope, you hear a little bit of an explosion, and then it's just gone. There. Why don't we have that functionality already? It really should be an option to, if you don't want to recoup your costs, you don't want to get everything back, why can't we scuttle our designs? Be like, hey, I'm going to fly this thing out here, I'm going to set it to self-destruct, and I'm going to jump out in my jetpack and start flying back before it blows up and crashes into the water and then sinks down to the bottom of the riverbed, or, you know, the lake or sea, ocean, whatever it is. Why can't we have that? And what happened here? Wow, a block was still showing over there. It landed all the way over there from that explosion and kept going till I got close enough for it to despawn. I think, nope, that works. Again, it doesn't show as well because it's so... Actually, some of the lights are not working either. The lights have stopped kind of working entirely, I think, on that one. There it goes. So, yeah, God mode just messed it up. So, yeah, we do need a self-destruct option, I think. That's something we should definitely have added to the game. So, obviously, I knew this was going to be a little bit trickier of a challenge for everybody, which was kind of the point. You know, we've had some really great turnouts on the other challenges, a lot of submissions, and some of them more than I expected. So, I really wanted to put forward a challenge that would make you use your creative thinking caps and try to come up with something, not so much just the design and the form of it, but a way to make something work a little differently than what it maybe is meant to currently by the devs. Maybe make it work in a way that is something we need in the game and the devs have not put in yet. So let's see, we've got elevators. Obviously we need some kind of elevator pad or something like that. Whether it's an elevator that can detach from a base, or, you know, an elevator vessel specifically for that to lift hover vessels up to a capital vessel. I don't know about that, but I would like to be able to at least have elevator that can lift a hover vessel up to the next floor if I want to store it up above a certain area, instead of having it taking up parking space and having to have a much larger hangar bay. We've got a design that allows for the same amount of parking spaces that a large continuous hangar bay level would have. We have it in one smaller design because everything's compacted to different floors and you can raise your vessels to those different floors. So very cool design on that. I really like the elevator and elevara designs best for that. I really like them in terms of the way they are set up. The Eclipse, I like the idea of the connection between the base and the capital vessel, like that, with the elevator aspect that ties between the both of them. But I think it could have, you know, the problems you have with it, that if it doesn't line up with anything, it's hard to line the capital vessel up on the base platform. There are some issues with it that will need to be addressed physics-wise and, you know, design implementation in the game before it's as effective necessarily as the elevator and elevare base. Because those do, once you get it put in place, they're locked in. And you could just, you know, you go up, go to the next floor, it locks in. The personal elevator, let's see, this one, the Vertex, I like the concept. It works well, and it can work in any elevator chain. You just basically have to take out the blocks and, of course, have enough room to put it in and then close it back up and seal it in there. The problems there fall, again, with the fact that when you exit a vehicle cockpit, it likes to put you behind and over to the side a little bit. So if oh, there we go. Now it falls. See, if Drumpsy right behind it and into the door, technically. Like I am, yeah, that's no God mode. And it's just kind of bouncing me between the door and the cockpit seat. So, great idea for that. We do need some kind of better elevators in the game. Definitely something that's more realistic, that can actually you know, be called from one floor to another. And that is a really good thing there. Now, as I said, TwoTon and yeah, the stopwatch. Stopwatch would be cool. Maybe you should talk with Highlander and how he did his design. I think the problem you would run into, even if you followed his design for the countdown clock, is the signal logic to have it constantly increment. Because you'll have to have some kind of signal logic that can handle incrementing into a larger number. And in his case, the countdown timer is a set first number and then it counts down from there. But we do need better screens in the game. That's a definite thing. We need adjustable screens. We need screens that can react to different changes. You need signal logic with the screen so you can trigger, you know, sign to show A or B. Hey, the furnace is on, so this sign says furnace is on. Furnace is off. This sign says furnace is off. We also need better design options in terms of the text. We need bold, we need italics. We basically need a web editor type thing. We need a WYSIWYG editor. We need to be able to highlight, or, you know, to take the text and say, hey, I want to have this set of text, a different font size than this, and I want this text to be bold. I want this text to be red. I want this text to be blue. We need that functionality in the game for the designs of the screens desperately, for people who like doing the design element of it, who like creating interesting stuff. And we need bigger signs, as shown by this welcome sign, as well as the one we can't see now, the big sign for the countdown timer on the self-destruct design there from Highlander. So I like the sign ones. I think the signs are some of the better aspects we've gone through with this challenge, and have actually seen work, you know, really well. And it really does show we need more functionality for the signs in the game. If you're coming here and making a sign that does this, that shows that even the signs are not where they need to be in the game. Let's see, what else do we have? Oh yeah, we have the bridging system that's way off somewhere that way, parked over there. Good idea, nice concept. I think it works better in terms of maybe the whole racetrack type thing right now, until we maybe get like new vehicle methods, new vehicle propulsions. Instead of hover vessels, we also have actual tank treads. We also have actual wheels, like big rigs. We need stuff like that, and at that point, the bridging system could work really well in helping you get across not just water, but spans of mountains, things like that. But we also need longer extending ramps, things like that, so we can actually reach a longer range between point A and point B with the bridge. But very nice concept. And of course, again, Doomno, I really appreciate the little Subnautica reference again. Alright, and let's see, what was the last? Oh yeah, we've got the nice space design. Very nice space design that gave me a bunch of ideas, not necessarily, you know, implemented in it, because that is partly the programming of the game. But we do need better docking mechanisms, especially for our capital vessels. We need a way you come up and you have a little docking clamp that connects to it, instead of it having to be a docking pad. We need that can work for small vessels and hover vessels, but capital vessels should have some kind of clamping mechanism from like a space station that it can dock with and be like, clamp in, done. You know, we need that kind of stuff. We could use a way to drop stuff from orbit, like be just outside the atmosphere and drop something down to the planet from your capital vessel. Or say, hey, I'm on my base right here just above orbit. I'm going to jump out with a hover vessel and I want to float all the way down, or, you know, fall down to the planet because there's a little bit of gravity here from it. That's a nice idea. I like the idea of the ion collector thing. That would be really nice to have some kind of solar panel type aspect on capital vessels as well, and especially the ability to define how the power sources are used. So this power source is used only for these devices. And the colonial one can produce enough plant fiber to have a positive energy balance. That's a lot of biofuel production right there. That is a massive amount of biofuel. And I have produced my fair share of biofuel in this game. And I don't even want to produce that much. But yeah, that's a nice concept too. I also like the detachable aspect of the concept, that we should be able to sit there and say, hey, we're going to detach this part of it and just drop it off here, or have it fly down to here, and it goes. You can have a design that splits off, and that gave me the idea of what if we had designs that are combinations like we have here. You have the first one, the Elevare and the Elevator. Instead of spawning them in separately, the ability to spawn them in as a combination. Say, hey, here is this combo. It counts as both the base and a capital vessel in the listing. And when you spawn in, it's both pieces in place, already done. That would be a nice concept, or a nice aspect to add to the game as well, I think. And then, of course, our self-destruct. We do need something like that. Some method that you can sit there and say, hey, I'm going to overload the engine system or whatever. Blow the ship up, because we've got that technically. We have a command that can destroy everything, or, you know, destroy the whole design. Certain point of interest vessels and the patrol vessels, when you take out the core, do certain things like that, they'll give you that little countdown saying, hey, in 30 minutes, this is going to self-destruct, basically. And so we really already have some elements of the self-destruct aspect in the game. We just need it properly implemented. So, yeah, a lot of really good ideas came out of this. I'm really pleased with it. Obviously, if this was more like Space Engineers or was Space Engineers, we'd have even more crazy stuff being done, because there's a lot more stuff you can do in that. Kind of like signal logic stuff in Minecraft with all the redstone. There's a lot of things people have found ways to do in that. In this, we're still limited a bit in terms of what the devs have implemented. But hey, we're getting more stuff all the time. If we get the rotors and pistons like we want, they'll add more. The WYSIWYG might not be possible due to redraw problems. I think they could figure out a way to at least implement something. You know, different text size at least. Maybe not even, I mean, bold and italic, just add an extra font file to the game. It should be all it is. So I think that, and then of course if they could do word wrapping, that would at least help a bit. Like say, I want this to be a line center. I don't want this to wrap around. Maybe have it where it's scrolling text, like we said. Things like that. A docking collar, a docking collar would be easy. I think they should do that. We need to have that kind of mechanism. I mean, they could still leave the docking pads, but having a docking collar, something like that, or even a docking, you know, connector where when the vessel pulls up, it extends out like the ramps do. It extends from the base to the vessel's door and attaches, and you got a connection between the vessel and the base, so you can walk in instead of us walking out into, you know, space, and just the fact that we got this artificial gravity keeping us from floating off the platform kind of thing with a lot of the space station designs we have. But yeah, great designs, great ideas, and I am so pleased with, you know, what we did. The one thing I'm a little disappointed about, I'm just saying, I'm surprised nobody tried to tackle a method of actually interlocking a small vessel and a hover vessel in a way that might make them move together. Obviously, there would be some problems with the way, in terms of game mechanics, that the vessels might bounce against each other. But I'm really surprised nobody came in and said, hey, I came up with this, you know, locking system that will let you hook this small vessel to this hover vessel and then carry the hover vessel to another part of the planet. I'm really kind of surprised we didn't end up with that sort of thing in this challenge submissions. That was really something I was hoping for and expecting to see. Nothing. Oh, you did? You're saying you did try, it's just not possible to do? I figured at least somebody would say, here's my concept for it. It doesn't work right, but here's the concept to try and make it work. But yeah, that's still the thing we all want, I know. We need docking mechanisms for small vessel and hover vessels to work together. We need more integration with that sort of thing in the game. So hopefully, some of the devs may get to see some of these, get to hear, you know, watch some of this live stream, and can say, hey, you know, that actually is a really cool idea. Let's put that on the to-do list. Let's put that in the upcoming, you know, project guidelines on what we're going to be doing for the game. We're going to try to work towards making these new sign changes for the LCDs. We're going to work on adding a self-destruct thing that will blow up the vessels. Universal docking connectors. Yes, good idea. You know, something like that. Maybe devs will see some of this stuff and get inspired in a way to make it work. Or maybe just decide, you know what, we need to figure out how to make this work, because everybody wants this. A lot of people want stuff like this. But again, I am going to put, of course, the links for all of the designs in the description below once I get a chance later. Since we're actually getting done earlier than we've been the last few creator challenges, I'll have some time, I think, for that. I'm also going to, of course, upload the save game, which will have everything in place if you just want to jump in that way and try it out instead of having to go through getting every design and adding it in yourself. And I will leave the submissions up for the challenge until it's time for the November submissions to occur. And I know at one point I think we talked about having an idea for that. I can't remember if I've actually ever discussed the idea, but I do still have one in mind. But I'm going to think some more, see if I come up with some other options. And of course, Excalibur, Danielle, any of you admins, if you remember what I said, message me. Let me know that I forgot what I said I was going to do for November, because I feel like I said I had something, but I couldn't remember if I told you all what it was. But that is the October Creators Challenge. Next month, I will go back to something a little bit less of a headache, I'm sure, for some of you. It'll be back to more of a traditional style type thing, but it will still make you really scratch your heads, I hope, and try to come up with some cool methods for it. But that's going to be it for today's live stream. My dog still has not come back, so he must either be asleep on the couch or he's being very shy. If you want to hang out for a moment, I will run and grab him. And y'all can, those of you who didn't get to see him at the very start, get to say hi to the new Mr. Spicy dog, Timmy. So I will be right back. Stick around and I actually get to finally test out something else I've added for this. So yeah, keep the chat going. I will be back in just a moment. Behold, the dog of spiciness. This is Timmy. Say hi. I know you can't really see everybody. They're in the screen. They're in there. This is Timmy. I got him from the local animal shelter where he has had some medical problems. He has been having some issues. So I was really happy to get him. It just kind of worked out. I was there doing some computer work for him. He came up and was just wanting me to pet him. It's such a sweet little dog. Very quiet. He has not barked once in the entire time I've been around him. Has not barked at all. He's whimpered and whined a bit when he wants something, but not barking. So perfect for a guy like me that is recording and streaming videos. And he's some kind of terrier and maybe a little bit of dachshund in him, is what we think. And he also kind of looks like he maybe has a little bit of a pincer in him by the way he holds his head when he's looking for something. But yeah, he's the drill pup, Timmy. He's actually, they named him Tiny Tim because he's so little and frail right now from his condition he had. He had to have his, he had Caval syndrome, I think they said it was called. He ended up having to have surgery to have heartworms removed. And it was over 20 heartworms taken out of him. So he is a trooper. He is doing much better. We're getting used to each other. He's still settling into his home. Right now he's sitting down in his bed next to me. And he's got so many toys already. I've already spoiled him. He's a nice, calm little guy. I think once he gets fully relaxed, he's going to open up a bit more. So you may see him a bit more on here. And he is, the surgery that he had, they said is typically only 30 to 40% success rate. So he did really well. And the fact that they said when they got the worms out, his heartbeat immediately stabilized and started to get stronger within minutes. Just showed he wants to stay alive. He wants to live. So yeah, I'm happy to get him. They were really happy to see him go because they wanted him to have a good home. And he's got a home now. He's got a very good home because I spoiled him already. And he's yawning at me again. So, Timmy, you okay there? He's bored with the stream already. Animal designs for the challenge? I thought about that. I actually thought about doing a Shark Week challenge at one point, making everybody design shark-based vehicles. I thought that'd be kind of funny to do. We may try an animal design at some point, if you want to do that. I'll keep that option in mind, John, for maybe the November one. But yeah, okay, now he's kind of repositioning himself. But yes, that's gonna be, anything, Jay Randall? Animal designs, anything? Are you saying animal designs from Jay Randall? Timmy, what are you doing? He's trying to move his bed closer to me, I think. It's already on my stool legs. You can't go any closer. Alright. So, okay, J. Randall animal designs. Alright. We'll do that. Modify J. Randall designs to be animalistic. We might do that. But yeah, I'll think about maybe animal designs for November. Oh, all of his stuff is animal inspired? Yeah, I can see that kind of, yeah. A little bit. I mean, not so much the Anubis. Anubis would be, I mean, guess animal in terms of Egyptian. But, did you give up already? He gave up on moving his bed. I'll think about the animal design idea. That is an interesting one. And I know we've had some before that kind of had that animal style look to it. I'll consider that. I do have another idea still. And like I said, if there's one I mentioned already and I forgot it, please remind me, because I've just had so much going on that I forgot what I originally said I was going to do possibly for November's challenge. But I will make sure to update the challenge channel on the server to show what it's going to be. Starter SVs? We could do that. Micro CVs? We could try something like that. Say, what's the smallest thing you can create with the most functionality at the lowest unlock level? But yeah, you're going against Danielle's design style. She wants to be as big as possible. She wants to go size 78 capital vessel and have it take up half the screen when you're flying it. Isn't that right, Danielle? Alright, but I will think about what I want to do for the next challenge. Next week we'll be back to regular play, regular gameplay live stream, and I actually do have I'm going to test it this week, make sure it works, but if it does, I do have another little surprise for everyone for next week for the regular gameplay. And nothing to do with the dog. I'm not going to have him play the game for me, though that could be interesting too. Have him play Empyrion in my place. I'll go take a break, get a drink. He'll just sit here and play it for me. But I do have an idea for the regular gameplay that I might see if I can implement this week. But this is going to be it for the live stream today. It is, of course, the night before, or the weekend before Halloween. So I am going to actually perform tonight for a big Halloween party. And so I've got that to deal with. I've got to take him to stay with his new grandparents, my parents, for the night. So he doesn't go crazy while I'm gone and destroy my house. I don't think he would, but I don't want to come back to puddles all over the place and, little baked goods laying around, especially in my seating spots that I like to watch TV. So I've got a few things to get done. I'm going to have to go put all my notes in, get everything lined up as in terms of the designs from this and get all that done. But I will have all that up. I will think and try to have a theme picked for next week's stream, so I can say here's what we're going to do for the creator challenge for November, and see what we can come up with. And I may come back with 2 or 3 options and just kind of let everybody put in their vote, see what you want to do, as I've done before. But yeah, that's going to be it for today. Thank you all for hanging out. Thank you all for your submissions, especially such great ideas. Some stuff that obviously works technically now in the game. Some stuff that works in a certain regard but could work better if the devs would implement it where it can actually work in the game. right way, and then just some great ideas for stuff that should be in the game but hasn't been put in yet, then hopefully, again, one of the devs might see this and be like, hey, that's some good ideas. Guys, we got to get to work on it. We got to get some of this stuff going because, again, early access, we have a chance to, always influence the direction of the game, and maybe some of the devs will get an idea from one of you and your designs on this. That's always my hope. We're going to get some influence on the game in terms of how things work. And so I really hope we'll see some of this functionality being added in, and maybe some of your designs might add some influence to those implementations when they happen. But that is it for today's live stream. Thank you all again for watching. I am Mr. Spicy, and that was Timmy, the Spice Dog, and I will see you guys in the next stream.